Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Eric and I like to read, and today I'm going to be doing book recommendations for Bridgerton characters. So my last video that I put out was me giving book recommendations to Heartstopper characters, and that one went over so well, so I'm excited to do this one. This one has been on my mind for a while, ever since really watching season 2 of Bridgerton. We devoured that show. Like, I'm pretty sure we watched it in less than a week. I don't think it was a day. We watched it in like 2 or 3 days, I would say. But it was so good. I really liked the second season. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it after watching the first season because I really enjoyed the first season, but the second season was also just as good. And so I'm excited to show some book recommendations that I would give to the different characters and my reasoning why. So I've put a list of characters here. I'm obviously not going to go through like the entire cast. I have a list of about 12 of the main characters, so we'll go through them. So the first one I have is for the Duke, and so this is Simon. Now, they were not in this season. They were in season 1, but because they were such a prominent character of season 1, I felt like they deserved to have at least a book recommendation for them. So I decided to recommend to them, and hear me out on this one, The Martian is what I would recommend to Simon, because Simon was a very like to themselves character. They like their solitude, and as we can see in season 2, they are spending a lot of time on their own because they're not there. So the main character of this book, Mark Watney, is actually stranded on Mars, and so he spends like the duration of the book by himself. And so I thought that the two things would be relatable to Simon, and he might get some enjoyment out of this book. So that's why I chose it. The next one we have is Daphne. And so for Daphne, she makes some appearances during season 2 of Bridgerton. And so I thought that Daphne would like to read ACOTAR. In other words, A Court of Thorn and Roses. I thought that she would like this book because Daphne seems to be like the older sister that like wants to take care of her family and make sure that everybody's okay, and essentially just be like a protective force in their family. And in this series, Feyre kind of takes on that role for her family and protects her family by going with a man after he says that she has to come with him because she killed Faye, and he is like somebody from the like court of Faye saying like she broke the law. And so in that sense, she is putting herself on the line instead of her family and protecting them. And so I think that like the two of them kind of have similarities. So I think that Daphne might enjoy reading this story and seeing where it takes her. Then we have Antony, and Antony is quite the character. They are very frustrating, to say the least. So for that reason, I chose for them The Cruel Prince, because Antony reminds me of Cardan. Cardan is kind of like not the nicest person, and I'm not saying Antony's not nice. I'm just saying that the way he goes about things is very similar to Cardan, where you don't like them at first, but like you grow to like them as more of the story unfolds. And that's kind of like how you feel about Antony too, is like at first he's kind of very like by the books, has to do things exactly a certain way, needs to provide for his family, be that like overarching presence. But like as the series and seasons go on, you discover that like he actually does have a heart, and there's more of a person to him than what we first saw, which is kind of similar to what happens in The Cruel Prince. So I thought that they would enjoy this book. Then we have Kate Sharma, who is one of our new additions from season 2, and I have the perfect book recommendation for her. I would give her Skyward by Brandon Sanderson, because Kate is a very spitfire character. She always kind of like says what's on her mind, and like she won't back down if something gets tough. Spensa, this is like exactly Spensa. Spensa is a spitfire of a character. She is like very outspoken. A lot of the times she speaks without like thinking about what she's going to say. So in the sense, like these two characters are very similar. And so I think Kate would really enjoy learning about Spensa and her journey, and also see some similarities there. Moving on to her sister, Edwina, who is another new addition. I would recommend the book Sunkissed for Edwina, because Edwina is more of like a soft person. She's kind of like flowery. And I feel like Sunkissed is a very light-hearted romance book that's set in the summer. It kind of like pairs well with her kind of like demeanor. And so I think that she would enjoy this book. She would enjoy reading a romance because that seems like something that Edwina would be into. And yeah, I think it just would be a really good book for her. Then we have Penelope. And so Penelope is like the mastermind behind everything. She's also very much into like the rumors and the gossip. She definitely reminds me of like Gossip Girl. And so I have a good recommendation for this because this book has a very similar style, and that is High School Queens by Zachary Ryan. So in this book, you're following different perspectives of these three different girls, and they keep getting mysterious texts from this person that's kind of telling them that things are going to be revealed about their lives that they don't want. Their secrets are going to be kind of aired out into the world. And in order to not have this happen, they need to do certain things to like protect their reputation, but they need to do things for this mysterious texter as well. And so I thought that was kind of fun because it's kind of similar to like the Lady Whistledown pamphlets being sent out with like all the different things that are happening in town. And so I think Penelope would really enjoy reading this since it's very similar to one of those pamphlets. It would be just like that rumor mill gossip newsletter all in one book. And I think she would have a lot of fun like reading through it and yeah, just seeing how that goes. Maybe she'll get some pointers from it too. Then we have Eloise, who really just does not want to be bothered by anybody, doesn't want to participate in like finding a man. She just wants to read her books and hang out in her library, go on the swing occasionally, do her own thing. So for Eloise, I chose All Systems Red, which is a Murderbot book. This is the first book in the Murderbot series because the Murderbot is very similar to Eloise. Murderbot doesn't want to like interact with humans. They just want to sit back, watch their TV show, and just do that. That's all they want. And so I thought that these two characters were very similar and had like the same outlook on life and what they want from it. And so I thought she would enjoy this. Although Eloise would fly through this because she's always reading nonstop. And this is a novella. So Eloise is going to get through this quickly. Luckily for Eloise, it's a whole damn series, so she can read the whole series. Then we have Benedict, and we don't really get too much of Benedict. We know that he's very interested in the arts, and so he's going to go to an art school and participate in that, and he's kind of just like exploring different avenues of his life, trying out different things. And so for Benedict, I chose to do Mexican Gothic because this book is very artistic in like the atmospheric description sense. So like this book is very atmospheric. It really like pulls rich wording about the settings and gets you very gives you like a very clear picture of where the characters are, what's happening, and things like that. I think he would really find the writing of this book very beautiful, and he would also be very pulled into like the it's not really, well, it's labeled as like horror, but I think of it more as like a thriller. I think he'll be pulled into that aspect of it and really enjoy following along with that plot line, but he would also be fascinated by like the descriptive writing in it. Then I have Colin, and so for Colin, I chose this book because Colin is kind of like not there all the time. He's very absent for most of it. So I chose Paper Towns because the main character in this book, Margaret Spiegelman, I believe that's it. I have not read this in a very long time. Okay, it's not Margaret, it's Margot, but I was still really close. So Margot is like pretty much MIA. She's in the beginning of the book and then she disappears, and like the whole point of the book is her friend goes in search of her with a group of their friends to go find where Margot has been and just find out where she is. And so I thought that that was very fitting because Colin goes off on his travels and comes back, but there's also that mystery of like Colin himself, and in this book there's the mystery of Margot herself and who she is as a person. So I feel like that just like goes well together, and I think that he would enjoy this. He also likes travel, and there's different travel aspects, like the majority of this book is based on a road trip, so I think that he would enjoy that as well. Then for Lady Danbury, I chose the book The Girls I've Been, and that's because Lady Danbury is very much like, she is like a mastermind. She's like playing a game within a game. And in the book The Girls I've Been, the main character was raised by con artists. So she has like these abilities to kind of manipulate her way through situations. And that seems to be what Lady Danbury is doing throughout all of season 1 and all of season 2. She's very good at what she does. And I think that she would enjoy this story because it's a similar character to herself, who is also very good at what she does. I also think that she would get pointers from the main character of this book, so it would be a good one for her. Then we have the Queen, and first of all, I want to say the Queen always has the most ridiculous hairstyles, things on her head. It's hilarious. But anyways, for the Queen, I chose the book House of Hollow. Now, I chose this book because the main characters of this book are not all that they seem. They have to kind of like hide parts of themselves to get by. And that is because when they were younger, they mysteriously disappeared and then showed up again a month later. And so their parents were just like, our children were gone and now they're back. But their children seemed different. And so the 3 main characters are the 3 sisters from this story, but they have to kind of try and blend back into society without fully showing to society who they are. And so I feel like that's very similar to the Queen, where she has things that are happening in the background that she knows about in her personal life, but she hides it from everybody else and kind of like puts on a facade for everybody because she's the Queen and she needs to be like this certain role for everyone. And so I think she would find comfort in this book, knowing that she's not alone in this and other people go through that too. And the last recommendation is for Lady Violet, which is the mom of the Bridgerton crew. And so for her, I had to choose one that, like, it was hard to kind of pick one for her, but I ended up going with Fangirl because the main character of Fangirl, like, always is writing about love, believes in love, and just wants love. And for the mother, Lady Violet, I feel like she just wants that for all her children. She's so hopeful that they'll all just have loving relationships, and she wants to provide that good home for them to always be able to come back to. And so I just think the 2 comparisons of wanting that love for their families is really important and something that she would connect with in this book. And those are all my recommendations for the Bridgerton characters. Let me know in the comments down below if you like these kind of videos, and if you do, maybe give me a couple suggestions of other shows you would want me to do this for. Anyways, that's it for the video, guys. If you want to support me, I have a Patreon and a Ko-fi page, which I'll put in the description down below, as well as linked by my bookmarks. You guys know the drill. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification button so you get notified when I post new videos. I post my videos on Mondays and Thursdays. And until next time, keep on reading.